zoom out. That's all I'm going to say. Just zoom out. None of us know what will happen, but I know one thing for myself. I am zooming out. This is a Bitcoin chart. I want to dissect it. I saw crypto kind of falling tonight, and I was like, I'm going to do a video. I wasn't planning on doing a video tonight, but we're going to do it. We're going to go into Bitcoin. We're going to go into this altcoin chart. Some interesting things happening here. I want to do some analysis on Ethereum as well as Cardano. So I'm just going to kind of fly through some just general nice analysis through these rocky times. This is part of the process, everybody. But I really do hope you are zoomed out on the crypto space right now, because I know I say it a lot. I know it's cliche to a lot of people, but it really is a new era that we're in. We have to look at this differently. We have to look at things differently. We have to prepare differently. Please hit the subscribe and like on the way in. I want to start with this clip. This is kind of out there in left field, but I saw this clip of SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce, also the head of crypto task force, from the Bitcoin conference today. And I found it so interesting. Just check this out. And the altcoin holders out there, you're going to like this. If you're a Bitcoin maximalist, you're probably not going to like it.
Yeah, and I think that's why sometimes I find it funny, because Bitcoin maxis sometimes tweet at me about altcoins, and they're like, yeah, they're all securities and we want you to regulate them into the ground. And then I say, come on, the ethos underlying Bitcoin is an ethos of freedom.
This is incredible insight, actually, for me, because I see this happening on X. You see these massive accounts, Bitcoin maximalists. You all know I'm bullish on Bitcoin and I'm bullish on altcoins. But you see these massive accounts just like that seem like they might have some kind of sway in even the administration. And you're like, man, I wonder if they're trying to get into the administration's ear, the SEC's ear, like shut down altcoins. All we need is Bitcoin. I've been wondering that. And to get this insight from SEC Commissioner and also the Crypto Task Force, the head of Crypto Task Force, Crypto Mom, Hester Peirce, I thought it was, for me, it was just really helpful just to hear her say that. That is what actually that is what the Bitcoin maximalists are doing. But here's at least her view of that. And she's signaling very strongly, altcoins are not going anywhere. So I just want you to keep that in mind. We're going to do Bitcoin analysis, but as we go to the altcoin charts, which we've been covering a lot, this is altcoin. This is actually excluding the top 10. So this is outside of the top 10 blue chips, this is going into that territory. But please keep all of this in mind as we're kind of considering what's potentially next for the space and capital and value coming into these charts. It's a patience process, and I know it's not easy a lot of the time, especially if you just look at the previous years. I get it. But for me, there's so much opportunity here. Everybody, if we can just be patient, at least that's where I'm coming from. So let's start with Bitcoin analysis, and then we'll kind of cruise through to the altcoin side of things. On the Bitcoin analysis side of things, I just wanted to mention something. We'll keep an eye on the short term. Right now, Bitcoin has tested the 20-day moving average. It's something we want to see support at. You see Bitcoin kind of pulling into the 20-day, make a move to upside, into the 20-day upside. That's a move we'd like to see. But eventually the slower moving momentum oscillator, the RSI, it just starts getting overbought, and then it needs to cool down. And that's kind of where we are right now. You can see this was getting overbought. We're cooling down right now, and we've lost support, at least right now, at the 20-day. That doesn't mean Bitcoin's not going to hop back above that area, but there could be some consolidation going on right now that could take us lower. And while we're thinking about that, you might be like, wow, altcoins are going to get destroyed. This is terrible. You know what? Altcoins might dip more, and I'm going to look at what the dips look like. We've already been talking about this. We've already been looking at these targets that are in play. But again, for me, and this is just me, okay? This is just how I see everything on these charts and in crypto right now. Zoom out. If Bitcoin needs to have another consolidation, this cycle is already way different. Everybody. Altcoins, way different. And we're going to get a glance of that. But the way in which we're getting months of consolidation and then it moves to the upside, if we need more of that to keep going up and the cycle is completely different, it is what it is. But one thing I'd be anticipating at the very least would be some type of just test of these moving averages. It's in play. The 50-day moving average, 98. The 200-day moving average, 94. If we want to really kind of bring into play kind of a fail-safe support, we can have swing low to swing high. And we have a Fibonacci, a higher low Fibonacci, which is 88 to 81. It's in play. In these moves, those targets are always in play. I realize everybody, including myself, would just enjoy Bitcoin just to do this. 150, done by July or August. I get that. But like, welcome to crypto. This is not what happens, right? So consolidation to moving averages is so normal. Consolidations to higher low Fibonacci, which could bring it lower, is normal. And so what I've been anticipating on this chart, and I talked about this the other day, is a potential inverse head and shoulders, right? This setup is potentially in play. And I say potentially because this isn't like a confirmed pattern, but it's something to speculate, something that I would speculate about right now. And the reason we'd be looking at for support here is, and there's no guarantee we get it, is if we get support, that would be the bulls really stepping in to form this right shoulder, right? So this could be a volatile process, but it's one that we should be aware of. But even in the meantime, let's kind of see what happens on the shorter term in terms of the 20-day and also in terms of just kind of these moving averages. Bitcoin might just want to go sideways while the RSI cools down, right? And let this 50-day pull into Bitcoin, and then we're kind of making a move to the upside. That could be in play. This RSI just cooling down, the MACD cooling down. So that's Bitcoin, going to give it some time. Obviously, it's a pretty new daily candle right now. So let's see how this progresses. We could wake up tomorrow. We could just really be falling. I do not know. But I'll be monitoring that. Altcoins. Let's talk about altcoins. Even within context of Bitcoin falling, this is what I see on this chart. One thing I wanted to mention, because I measured this a little earlier. Last cycle, right? From the 2018 bull market high to when altcoins finally broke out again, we're looking at like a little over 1,000 days. Right now, from last all-time high to where we are, it's 1,200. It's like 1,300 days. We are like 300 days past breakout time. So I bring that up because for me, this helps incredibly to understand why altcoin sentiment, at the very least, is not good. Patience is lost in the altcoin space right now. Everybody wants altcoins to break out now. And my thing that I'm telling myself is, yeah, it would be amazing. It would be nice. I get it. I'm in the boat with you. But you have options. You can either just be over it. You can leave the crypto space. If you don't see opportunity here, it's okay. And you leave, right? Or you do see the opportunity here and you're kind of just like, I don't know. I actually don't know how long this is going to happen or last or what this volatility is going to look like. But I'm quite sure in terms of the potential upside and breakout of altcoin markets with all of the things that are in play with this pro-crypto administration and really even the global race into Bitcoin, right? But there comes so much altcoin and blockchain innovation with that outside of just Bitcoin. And all of that capital, trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, even with the Genius Stablecoin Act, that's hopefully going to pass soon. This chart is just ready to explode eventually. I can't tell you when it will happen. Nobody can. But this is just my thought, my thesis on altcoins. This chart is going to explode. And maybe it's more downside and sideways and more frustration. I do not know. But I just think, in terms of altcoins, I don't think $400 to $500 billion market cap was it for altcoins. And this, again, is the chart excluding the top 10. So notice on this chart, for me, I look back and I'm kind of like, look at all these bottoming out areas, even in this cycle. We kind of just came out of one, right? But even when we're coming out of these things, we get volatility, we get choppiness to the downside, we get 200-week moving averages being tested. Here's a 200-week moving average being tested, or not being tested, but potentially going to be tested down here closer to $200 billion market cap. It's in play. The volatility is in play. You go back to any part of this chart and there's just volatility all over the place. The other thing I notice, which I think exemplifies how bullish and coiled up the altcoins are, there's this 20-week, look at this. Look at these moving averages. 3 of these very big weekly moving averages just coiling up together right here. And then boom, get the 20-week above the 50. And now we're getting it right back below the 50 right now. right? It's hard to see, but yeah, it's looking like that's crossing right below right now. But just notice, this is exactly what happened back here. And it was like another, month and a half of volatility. And then we had a nice move to the upside. So it's like, are we putting in a higher low? Is that what's going to happen? I don't know, but I'm just sitting here covering content, showing you my view of these charts. And I'm just letting you know, I'm just going to be here for it. I'm just going to wait. I'm just waiting here for it. There's nothing else to do. I don't know why my opinion about that kind of brings a lot of negativity. My channel, especially, it brings a lot of negativity that I'm here and I'm bullish on altcoins. But that's just my view of this chart. Now going to an altcoin, here's Ethereum. So Ethereum is doing a very simple thing. It's something I talked about in the video earlier today. It's consolidating and it's seeing resistance at so many different areas, right? The 50-week moving average, the lower trend line of a multi-year triangle, and we are just trying to show support above the 200-week moving average. What I will say is this 20-week crossing below the 200-week is a phenomenal bottoming out indicator. You can actually go back here. There's the 20-week falling below. Some people might look at that and be like, man, that's terrible. Well, that's the picture of the terrible that already happened, right? That happening. And so it is true in the similar sense here. But on the short term, I do want to track Ethereum because we are at that resistance level. There is a possibility we talked about for a breakdown. But when I talked about this last, we were talking about this kind of triangle. We were talking about the potential that Ethereum comes and tests the lower trendline area, higher low. There's the 20-day moving average. Maybe Ethereum needs to see support here. Maybe it does, right? And we start breaking up. That would flip sentiment so quick. Going from this dip and we're tracking up would be crazy. But maybe we break to the downside, right? And we have to hit our target towards $2,100, meet the 50-day moving average. A higher low out of this insane capitulation, normal, especially after multi-year resistance. Boom. Something like that could happen. So that's an Ethereum update, and I think it's probably an important update just because when we're looking at the Ethereum chart, guess what? We are right in the apex of this triangle. It is looking like something is about to snap, is what I think I put in a title of today's video earlier. And I do want to I haven't done this, but I do want to take a glance at the global M2, the global liquidity index, just because if this plays out, maybe Ethereum does kind of start breaking to the bottom and it turns into a busted pattern. Maybe we don't even go down to that target of 2,100 and we have kind of a busted pattern in play tracking along this M2 global liquidity. If Ethereum gets this move, everybody, look at that break back into the triangle. Just look at that. If it tracks global M2. So let's go to Cardano again. Very similar. We're going to continue tracking just key areas on the weekly for Cardano, sitting above the 200-week moving average as I do this video, testing it. And it's pretty incredible area. The bottom of the bull market doors is what I call it. And ADA has just been kind of contesting with it, right? You can see back here trying to break above. It broke above. We're revisiting it. We're trying to have it as support right now. The 20-week moving average, ADA right now between the 200 and the 20. So 75 and like 70 cents is a huge area of contention for ADA. You can even you open up the charts lately, even on the zoomed in, and you can feel it. You can feel the contention between these moving averages. But notice what the moving averages are all doing. They're all coming together. ADA coiling like crazy. And my thing for me is kind of like, you know what? Maybe ADA breaks down. I don't know. Maybe something happens that crypto is just crashing. Okay? I realize that's possible. But when I look at this and I just think about global liquidity, I think about just even things, the smaller, not small headlines because it's a big one, the Genius Stablecoin Act. I think about the Bitcoin conference this week and Cardano demonstrating how it's going to unlock Bitcoin DeFi. I think about all of the fundamentals and even where we are in the cycles, Fed policy, maybe, potentially Fed pivoting eventually or getting some type of good news there, quantitative tightening slowing down. This coiling that's happening, even if it just keeps consolidating, kind of faking us out, for me, it's just looking so bullish on the ADA chart. And so that obviously plays into all these other charts that we're looking at as well. But I'm just here to track it right now. I'm here to watch. And right now, this is what Cardano on the weekly is looking like. The 50-week moving average, 64 cents. That's in play even when we start looking at shorter term targets. So let's do that. Let's talk about what Cardano is doing right now. At the very, in the very short term, right now we can watch this tonight. That previous swing low we had, 2 swing high, we have a higher low Fibonacci that ADA just went to. I'm not so convinced as I do this video that that will hold. Technically, it would be phenomenal if it holds and we actually see a bounce off the 50-day moving average, which is right in the middle of this range. Would be phenomenal technical move. But I just want to point something out. If we take a kind of a more midterm Fibonacci, the capitulation in April, 2 swing high, we have this area. It's 65 cents to 58 cents. What I very recently was doing was I went back to last cycle and I was looking at this move for ADA. ADA put in kind of a very similar higher low from this swing low at 7 cents to swing high and just started falling down to the higher low Fibonacci. Like it was like 9 cents or it's like 8 to 9 cents. And then boom, right? And you can even see if ADA is just failing at really the moving averages. It was a fail-safe higher low support. So if we go to ADA right now on the chart, you notice, man, ADA is actually just about to fail below all these moving averages. And you can't immediately just say, all right, that's it for ADA, it's over, right? We have to evaluate things like a Fibonacci. So that midterm Fibonacci is the area I'd be watching. If crypto does continue to dip right now, how does ADA interact with that like 64, 65 cent area down to around 58 cents at the 786? It's something that has happened before. I was even actually noticing, and this is a little less technical, but this move back here, right? Before our breakout, you can see ADA looked like it was kind of trending up and looking like it's, oh man, maybe we're coiling and getting ready to move up. And it did the opposite and it started falling and it looked terrible. Even the momentum oscillator, the RSI, I believe was doing that too, right? Look at that. Look at that trending up, just looking nice. We got some nice momentum right here. And then boom, it just failed. It's kind of similar. It's like we were having this nice momentum and boom, we're failing. So we have to kind of take this day by day is what I'm saying. Because guess what? This didn't lead to some new bear market, some crazy new lows at like sub 20 cents. And so therefore, there's a possibility where this isn't going to lead to some crazy bearish, move. But let's monitor. Let's watch support. Let's see what happens. All of these moves so far are normal. And the one thing that is continually the test, I think, through all this is patience, at least for me. And, I'm just documenting all of this on the crypto charts. That's all I'm doing. And only time will tell to see what happens next. But this is my analysis today as we kind of just watch crypto do what it's doing. Bitcoin conference week, it's almost not a surprise at all that this is how price action is. So let's see what happens. Either way, I hope you're doing well out there. Please hit the subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Trying to get to that 400,000. I don't know if we need an altcoin breakout or a Bitcoin all-time high or something, but would love to have you as a subscriber. If you enjoy this content, please smash that like. I will see you in the next video. God bless.